Well, hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of Feeling Smarter. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Tim Miller in person today. So, welcome, Tim.
Aaron, always a pleasure.
Well, we've just completed our SMSF Death Benefits Masterclass, so hence why we are together in person. But we're not going to talk about death benefits today. We are going to focus on preparing for 1 July. It's a topic that we did last year. A lot of interest from the stats that we saw on this topic. So it provided us with the opportune time to revisit this in light of plenty of things happening as we get closer and closer to a new financial year. So, Tim, I'm going to hand over to you about some of those things that we need to start preparing for.
Yeah, look, I think the first thing this time of year, we always talk about indexation and what's changing from the 1st of July. And obviously the most significant change that we get for retirement income phase income streams is the transfer balance cap, the general transfer balance cap, indexing from 1.9 million to 2 million. But of course, that also has a flow-on effect for people utilising things such as the bring forward contribution rules. So if they're looking to trigger the bring forward rules in the new financial year, it's going to be based on their total super balance as at 30 June 2025. So, using the various brackets as to whether they qualify for no contributions, 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years. So total super balance is probably the one that, or transfer balance cap is the one that springs to mind. And then measuring it against an individual's total super balance. But then other issues as well from an indexation point of view.
Yeah, and I think that the one that sticks out to me, because it's such a hot topic at the moment, and it does certainly interplay with this, and that is around the Division 296 and the market valuations, because this year we're presuming is going to be the entry point for these new rules looking to kick off. Of course, we won't know that until we see Parliament resume from the 22nd of July and whether we see those that new bill introduced into Parliament. But all roads tend to suggest that we are looking at a 1 July 2025 start date. So therefore, valuations at the 30th of June will be an important factor in determining whether Division 296 and to what extent it will apply in that first year of course that we have to go through to 30 June 2026. So some thoughts in that regard?
Yeah, and look, I think valuations it's been a hot topic for a number of years with the ATO certainly, I guess, putting more scrutiny on fund auditors to ensure that they're reviewing valuations. So it has been a topic of interest for quite some time, and I think they've sharpened their pencil around how some of those rules work with regards to property valuations and the like. And so therefore auditors are certainly being more watchful in this space. But yeah, add the considerations of Division 296, which potentially come with a change in the definition of total superannuation total super balance, which we'll wait and see about there. But yeah, valuations is certainly for me one of those areas that always is of interest at this time of year. But now it's got that added bonus of, not bonus, but that added scenario of Div 296 in addition to pension commencements and other things.
Yeah, because I guess for those that are closing in on that 3 million, that market valuation to try and keep people under for the calculation will be important. But for those that are already in there, there's naturally a lot of discussion that's been occurring about saying, well, do we take the higher end of market value to impact the damage that tax might have in the subsequent year? Now, if we're pushing those numbers further north, well, then it is going to impact a lot of that TSB calculation about how much you can get in retirement phase, the ability to contribute, although noting that, we've got a TSB cap at 2 million anyway, so the 3 million you're sort of kicked out regardless. But it's all those things that start to interplay, and it just adds a whole new layer to the overall planning process as we sort of kick into this new financial year.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, and one of the ironies of indexation and the conversation around Div 296 is one thing that theoretically won't be included in the Div 296 total super balance calculation is limited recourse borrowing arrangements. And of course, at this time of year, we always take keen interest in how they sit with regards to indexation for the PCG 2000, safe harbour rules. And so what we've noted, because we comment on this quite regularly, is that yes, there's been an interest rate drop, But the most recent numbers with the indicator lending rates for the PCG purposes is dropped down from 9.35 down to 8.95 for property, which makes it 10.95 for listed securities.
Yep.
But of course, commercially, you can now look at opportunities in and around that sort of 6.75 rate. So there's still a significant difference between being locked into the arm's length requirements for to ensure no compliance action, right? From an ATO point of view, versus going out and seeking a lower rate to be able to benchmark your own rate against.
Yeah, and I think as people move to 30 June, that right. As you stated, that adjustment to interest rates has obviously happened. So as a minimum, we need to look at and reflect what that adjustment is, because it is an annual adjustment. But equally, as you stated, the realities are in a falling interest rate market, which is the first time that we've had this really in this LRBA environment, is that we've got a reasonable material discrepancy between what markets are offering ordinarily to what the safe harbour is ultimately providing here. And it does again provide an opportune time for people to revisit that. And like you said, if you want to go outside the 9 dots of PCG 2016-5, you're going to have to do a fair bit of work to demonstrate that you have an arm's length dealing here. It's not simply going on to finder.com.au or something and sort of ticking off that number. It's a genuine application, in essence, that an offer for a loan based upon an application process to be able to achieve that rate that is lower than what is currently there. So there has been a benefit over time where as rates went up that there was a delay, obviously, but now that we're seeing the reduction on the other side, there is a lag between what a fund will have to pay under the safe harbour versus what they're going to see commercially.
Yeah, absolutely. So lots for people to contemplate as they hit 1 July.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure, no doubt, there's plenty of other things. We naturally covered these off in sort of our tax planning stuff. So if you haven't had a look at our tax planning checklist, we've still got access to that information in our webinar online. We will also, Tim, I think in August, our next masterclass, we're looking at our annual compliance masterclass. A lot of these sort of things are all forming part of, I guess, things that we just need to be attentive of as we get close to, so tidying up before 30 June and then sort of resetting and getting our funds prepared as we move into the new financial year as well.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you once again for joining us for this week's edition of Feeling Smarter. Have a great rest of the week. Take care and bye for now.
See you all.